Do you guys think that narcissistic abuse can conjure up evil spirits? Because I do, especially after reading this story. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kaisa and I tell true scary stories every single night that you guys submit to me. So if you want to submit me a story, my email is in my bio. It's kaisaspooky@gmail.com. My YT is also in my bio, where I tell scarier stories, longer versions of stories, and the same stories I tell in here over there. I am going to give a trigger warning for this one for DV, so just keep that in mind. We're going to call today's submitter P, and P was born and raised in East Central Mississippi. Now, one may think that the safest location from evil would be a small town located in the Bible Belt, but that could not be further from the truth in this instance. So the story starts in the 1960s, and P's mother used to let him and his twin brother take naps during the day. He used to wake up often from these naps, seeing an older woman with a red veil over her head moving from one closet to the next. You may think that that is creepy. Nothing. That is nothing. One day, he was taking a nap while sharing a bed with his brother and his sister. They had to do this occasionally because of lack of space. When he woke up to a mummy-like figure in rags crawling into his window. He tried to wake up his brother and sister at this point because he's absolutely terrified and they will not wake up. They won't wake up. It's like almost like they were in a state of sleep paralysis or something. And he finds out afterwards that his brother had seen a figure crawl through the window who had threatened to unalive him. Now, these experiences absolutely terrified them, but the next experiences I'm about to share with you would take it to a whole new level. It would scar P for decades to come. It was late one night and his brother and sister were both working in the kitchen. He walks down a long hallway at the rear of the house and he enters a bedroom. And he looks over at the closet and he notices that his sister is kneeling in the closet just staring at him. She had the most evil look on her face, and there was only one way down that hallway and he did not see her pass him. He said the look on her eyes and just the way her eyes looked gave them away. Who's them? He would close all doors after this to protect himself. Now he asks, could this be his mother's malignant narcissism that brought all of this activity into this home? Or were the spirits responsible for her behavior? He still to this day does not know, but that is not the end of the story. Because the violence escalated in this home to the point where he feared that someone in his family would be unalived. Now let's talk a little bit about that. So one day he wakes up from a nightmare covered in sweat, but then he would walk into his kitchen to find an even bigger nightmare. His father and his brother both had weapons pointed at their mother. Now he had no idea what triggered this, but one of the oddest things about this is that one of the people that had pointed at his mother's face was the mother's golden child, like absolute golden child. Now the crazy thing is after this, his father left his mother, and after this happened, the golden child that had the pointed at his mother's face then became like the son/husband. He said you could call it emotional incest, if you will. His life as an ordinary, normal human being ceased to exist, as his sole purpose in life was to become his mother's caretaker and bodyguard. As his mother is pouring out narcissistic abuse to P and his twin, he notices that his older brother is keeping a careful eye on them to make sure that nothing bad happens to his mother. At one point, he had even jumped P so badly that it felt like it was taking forever for him to get off of him. It was bloody. It was a mess, and his other brother actually had to hit him over the head with a porcelain sink twice to get him to stop pummeling P. And his older brother that was pummeling him was a much older than him and also much bigger than him, like twice his size. Imagine how traumatic that must have been. P was only 17 at this time, and after this occurred, he looked at his brother and he said, if you ever touch me like that ever again, I will unalive you. And still to this day, his brother takes zero responsibility for his participation in the abuse and for his participation in letting the abuse continue with his mother. His mother was so bad that his father was a good person. He was a deacon in a church, just a good part of the community. But the astounding amount of physical and verbal abuse that his father had taken from his mother actually turned him into the town drunk, which is really sad. Now the energy in the home just continued to rise and get more negative, and he could feel it in his bones. One day he walks in on his father throwing a pot of boiling hot water onto his mother. His mother then picks up a pew-pew and shoots his father, but thank God misses and just grazes him. Then another night, P is in the tub and he hears a pew-pew go off again. He thinks this is it, and apparently she missed again. The cops then came to the house, but due to her manipulation and also, I guess, sleeping with one of the cops, they turned a blind eye to it. She totally got away with it. Now, his mother would tell them that their father was not human, that he shape-shifted into animals at night. And at first, P did not believe this, obviously, but weird things started to occur that made him wonder. He originally thought that this was his mother's way of dehumanizing his father. But then one day, he saw his father literally fall through the ceiling. It was about a 10-foot drop. He fell on his back, slammed on his back. He was only 170 pounds. He gets back up and he just brushes it off, and he's totally fine. It was at this point that P starts to realize that his father is no ordinary human being. He was very Rasputin-like in his physical appearance, and the fact that he was almost bulletproof and hard to unalive. Even when cancer ravaged his body, he still had the strength of 2 men. Eventually, the father would slowly dissipate out of their lives, and he wouldn't see them anymore. In fact, he ran into him at a Walmart many years later, and his father didn't even recognize who he was. The downfall of his father was real. His father did eventually pass away years later after being in another abusive marriage where his wife basically just erased him from this planet. He destroyed his mark on this earth. Now, JP remembers having this dream when he was younger where his mom reveals herself as Jekyll and Hyde in the dream. He thinks that maybe this was a warning from his higher self or his subconscious, and it became true after his father was forced out and experienced a crazy downfall after being a family man, a deacon. The kids would now be the target of the mother. P says the theory exists in some circles that narcissists are under the influence of demonic spirits. And after everything that had happened in their house and all of the abuse that they had all experienced and the paranormal activity, and then the fact that he had actually went to go visit her a couple years later, and what did she do? She pointed a pew-pew right at his nose. That's her son. He said that after that, he then asked his golden child brother to please remove the weapon from the home because he had actually heard that his mother was plotting to unalive somebody for checking their mailbox because she said that this was evil. This was a sin. P said that his mother passed away at 80 and she had 0 arrests on her record, which is absolutely insane after everything that she had done, after all the weapons that she had pointed at people, shot at people, done all the abuse that occurred in the home towards the husband and towards her children. But now begs the question, what do you think happened here? Do you think that her narcissistic behavior manifested demonic behavior in the home? Or do you think that the demonic entity in the home caused her narcissism? In my opinion, with this one, I truly believe that this woman is probably born a narcissist because they most of the time are. In my other opinion, I do think that it was causing the activity, the paranormal evil activity in the home, where these kids lived in fear every single day from not only the paranormal activity that it was in the home, but also from their own mother. I am truly sorry that you endured this as a child, and I am sorry for the effect that it probably had on you during your adulthood, because that shit stays with you. I have personally been the victim of narcissistic abuse, and that's why I thought it was so important to share this story. If you guys have any comments that you want to leave, he will be looking at the comments. And if you have any experiences that are similar and you have any words of affirmation for him, drop those in the comments. Like, let's lift this man up. My name is Kaisa, and I tell true scary stories every single night. So if you like this story and you want to hear more, hit that follow button. And as always, I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of your support, all your kind words, all your likes, shares, saves, everything that you have done, especially the kind words. I love all the comments. The repeat commenters, I notice you and I love you guys. And I love everyone else who watches my channel. Sincerely, you guys mean the world to me. So normally I say have a spooky night, but tonight I'm just gonna say please pray for Pete, okay? I love you guys. Have a safe night. I'll see you in the next one.